Hi, welcome back to the Athens Film Festival 2025 Creator Interviews. Today I'm here with Alec Cohen, writer and director of the shorts Necessity and Petunia, showing at the festival this August. Alec, how are you doing?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm good, I'm good. We'll just jump right in there,
Yeah,
honestly. These were two, honestly, rather different, but
you could
but we
say
love
that. Yeah. Thank
them.
you.
I mean, I rewatched both of them like back to back. So we have a bit of a horror drama, and then we have like a more sentimental, just drama, grief kind of story. And
Yeah.
those back to back are some unique feelings. I
Yeah.
guess I'll start with Necessity though. So for Necessity, honestly, this film is kind of debuting at a time with a lot of discourse about weight loss medication and body
Yeah.
standards, especially in the last like 2 to 3 years, I would say, but we're at a peak of it now. How much of that discourse kind of shaped what you were trying to say in this film? Or were you already living with some sort of tension that this kind of gave you a mechanism for?
A great question. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on. And yeah, I actually was like an early adopter of Ozempic. I'm going to be honest. I gained a bunch of weight during the pandemic. And like my mom, like probably early 2021 was like, dude, like this is an issue. Like I was having health issues. And so that
Oh
was
my
like, we were
gosh.
headed towards, like I went to a doctor. I was like not pre-diabetic, but it was like going that way. And it was like, yeah, it kind of just had become an option. And it was like, I'll be honest, like I understand the hype around it. Like it's great. It's
Mm.
awesome. Like I love being on Ozempic, but there's like a lot of side effects. I'm no longer on it. I'm very glad not to be like dependent on GLP-1s. And it was like the whole time you kind of feel like you're cheating. You know what I'm saying? Because I've tried all these different ways of weight loss, and it's so effective because you're just not hungry.
Yeah.
But it's like I lost my hair. I like had so many other like crazy side effects. So it's just like it's just not for everyone. Talk to a doctor, do your steps. It's like every medication has a side effect. So I was like, there was kind of like two things going on in the space. I think when I was writing the script, people were starting to talk about it. Like it had been out, you see the commercials, but non-diabetic people were starting to kind of take advantage of the situation. People who
Yeah.
didn't frankly really need it were getting it instead of diabetic people. There was a big shortage. So it was definitely like on my mind, but also like my own feelings about it, of just feeling like I cheated, feeling guilty about it. And so I just kept playing around with like, it felt like it had to be a horror. And I was like, but who's the villain? What is the villain? So just playing with that. And it's really like my first horror short I've really done. You'll see Petunia is much more like my normal style, but I had like a competition and I was like, let's go for it. Let's do a horror movie. And yeah, I like that you described it as a horror drama because that sounds right. That's like correct what is in my head.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like there was some real grounded, like genuine drama going on in this life. And then, at the box when it's presented in the film, it's like, wow, cool. Like I get that sense, yeah, of like it's magical, it's cheating, it's fun. It does feel like that. And then I won't spoil anything for anybody, but it takes a turn. It left me
Yes.
with some feelings.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so for your first horror, that's amazing. I didn't realize that this was from personal experience.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that frustration felt so real.
Yeah.
I think just for all of us, even without, an intimate experience with it, just like even like the ad scene coming up for the weight loss of necessity, love the name,
Thank you.
because it does feel
The
it's
commercials are crazy. It's like, sorry to cut you off, but it's like my previous short before this, I also did like a rip on a big pharma ad, and it's like
mm,
so wild. Like I did the necessity fake commercial when it was like the ads were just like Ozempic, and it's like
yeah,
everyone's happy and like in a fake town. But then
crazy.
after I finished the short, it's like the commercials of people actually like you show the needle going into your body, like
Yeah.
Charles Barkley and all these people, and I'm like, that is like my least favorite part is like the needle, and I'm like they're showing it like, so sorry, huge tangent, but I'm like these
No.
pharma ads are wild.
No, absolutely. Like I felt that like it is that invasive that even when you're trying to do like, weight loss or just research or just be alive, it feels like there was this invasive presence of like, here's an ad, here's a needle in a tiny little vial that doesn't feel ominous or like knives out at all. And you're just watching it and it's like on your Pinterest. So I definitely feel that. I think
Yes.
that was so accurately represented just how invasive it feels.
Yeah.
But speaking of invasive, we have to talk about that one scene. Why am I laughing? I mean, what was the significance of the we'll call it feeding scene?
Yeah, the feeding. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm like trying to decide how much I want to say. It's there's a there's a character Marilyn who's in the movie, and that metaphor is very on the nose. But yeah, like I said, I iterated a lot of like what is this villain and what do they do, and I think that's like it's kind of like the best way I could exemplify how I was feeling. I played around with like maybe it's little bugs inside of you, or maybe it's like, what is that feeling like? What is the essence? It's kind of just like someone's kind of like sucking you out. Someone's kind of like you're fading away. Like you're being part of you is being taken away. And that's a very romantic way to say like you're losing weight in a real like hormonal scientific way. But it does like it did feel to me like, again, going back to the cheating thing and just kind of like in a literal sense, it just felt like part of me was like slipping away. It's just, I'm like, you almost don't feel like the same person. And everyone's like, you look so healthy. And it's like, they can't see behind the mirror, where it's like, I just feel like I'm not putting good things into my body. And so kind of doing that reversal of like taking things out of your body. And then there's kind of, as a part of that scene, they're putting things back in your body. And that's just like, it's just the metaphorical interpretation in my head of like how that experience made me feel, and then
Mhm.
trying to like personify that, making Marilyn like this antagonist that you don't really see until the end, but you feel their presence. And then when you see them, at least in my, it like makes sense. Like it's kind of intuitive, like what's really going on. But it is like, I wish, so it's a horror movie. You got to find a fun way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was quite a shock. I mean, I watch all of the films here too, of course, and I've seen a few horror shorts, but this one was definitely unique to, the subject matter, of course. And just I think body horror, especially after like the substance being so
Yeah,
popular, I think it's becoming more mainstream, and I think that's reflecting something that you're trying to talk about
definitely.
here too. Absolutely.
No.
And I think also with that, how do you kind of balance not over sensationalizing or, as you said, romanticizing in some cases these issues? I mean, you want shock and discomfort in a sense, but you also want to humanize these people, especially when it's, about consent and consumption here and what it says about someone willingly submitting to something that's harmful.
Yeah, that's a great question. I went back and forth about the ending so much because it is like ultimately my decision was like this is gonna come to a point where it's out of my own control, where like I'll feel reliant on GLP-1s to stay fit. You know what I'm saying? So I had, while I still felt in control of it, I felt like I hit a weight that I was comfortable with and walked away, and have since then kind of been able to maintain that weight. And it's like it's hard. Like it's genuinely hard for me now to lose weight. And a lot of people who get off the GLP-1 gain the weight back almost immediately because your appetite's just back and your old habits come back. So I think the big message that I'd want to say if I expanded this is like it's really about the day-to-day habits that you form, which is why like kind of the second act of the movie is like his habits. You see he's no longer working out. His habits are kind of eroding because he has this cheat. And so I was hoping that that would be a reversal for the audience to say, okay, if he was learning his lesson and he was doubling down and working out and eating right, then this would have been a better situation for him in the end. Because he didn't make those decisions, then he decides to, oh gosh, do I spoil it? You'll see what happens at the end.
Maybe I'll put a little bleep over your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. But I really did not want to sensationalize it. And that's why like I
Yeah.
really wanted like the lighting, the cinematography to just feel very like icky. And you're like it is just like getting kind of a low angle and just showing him putting it in. And that just really being visual about those moments, because that's like a big part of what I remember is like I liked the results, but I hated like having to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's like, and again, it's like the GLP-1s help so many people. My only soapbox here is just that like diabetics should have first access to it because it truly can save people's lives. And hearing people that are like in great shape that are on GLP-1s is always upsetting to me, because it's like you're setting bad habits for yourself, and it's like other people aren't getting access to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely. I mean, I didn't even know that, like, I was just like, man, I wonder how these celebrities have lost like a ridiculous amount of weight like immediately. And there's something to be said there, absolutely. But just going off here on like both of your shorts, really, I really felt that they were a masterclass in efficiency. Like you
Thank
were
you.
pacing that so wonderfully. As I watched so many things, I've selection committeed for some film
Yeah.
festival, and it's hard. It's hard to pace. It really
Yeah.
is. For writer directors working under time and budget constraints, what's your advice for building like a lot of emotional tension, which I feel like you excelled in,
Thank you.
without sacrificing clarity or complexity?
It's an amazing question. I think about this all the time. I remember like when I had the first cut of Petunia, I sent it to Jim Cummings, who's a filmmaker who I really look up to, and he luckily talks to me when I talk to him. And he's like, too long. It was like 15 minutes. He's like, too long. That's all he said. And I was like, Jim, like I want to know like what specifically. So I was like, what? It's like, okay, how can we get this down? And we like for like a month, I just told my editor like just pause, and I'm gonna like stew on this. And then one of my friends came over and watched it, and he was like, all these beats in the middle are like kind of the same arc. It's like build, 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 and then like protagonist gets or doesn't get what he wants, and then we get to this credit card scene after. So he was like, what if you intercut those scenes because they have like similar page count, similar build, and it like unlocked the short. I think it made it such a better short. I'm super grateful. My friend Jonathan, shout out. And so I think those are the kinds of things that it is like you're so precious about wanting to build character and build the world. And especially for Petunia is more of a proof of concept. So kind of like trying to show the extent of like what my wife and I, at the time, girlfriend went through and everything like that. And what I think is important is just like showing your friends and like getting the feedback in the editing room, because it's so hard for you to kill your darlings. Like you want to include all this world building and all these juicy details that you slaved away at writing and filming. But it is like you do have to cut a lot out. And I think like some of the best shorts, like if you just watch the top 10 lists of best shorts, it's a lot of just like setup and payoff. You know what I'm saying? And so I really struggle. I'm very self-critical. Necessity, the first cut, was like every night you got like a tease of what was going on. And then it was like 10 minutes long, and people are like, this isn't, you're kind of like, it's better as a reveal. You know what I'm saying? Build up, payoff. So that's my big thing. And just because you talk about efficiency, I will say like Petunia was shot in 2.5 days, and like the half day we just cut from the movie. It was like an alternate ending. And then Necessity was shot in 1 day, which is pretty crazy. And it was
Yeah.
pretty hilarious because on Saturday we shot Necessity, and on Sunday we shot a Christmas music video. Same location, same crew, like all the same people, cameras, everything. And it was just like that's
Oh,
what we had to do to get it done. So it was like the vibes were wild. Like the switch up of vibes was really crazy.
oh my gosh.
Just like to talk about actual production efficiency, it's like we were able to do these for a really low budget because we are really mindful about like keeping locations down, keeping characters down, simplifying. I mean, the bathroom shots in Necessity are all just one long take. I hate losing like 5 minutes to cutting and slating and blah blah blah. So it's literally like we just rolled, and then I would tell the actor, okay, scene one, okay, scene four, okay, scene seven. But we did that rehearsal and we were dialed in, et cetera, et cetera. So always like if you can do your short in less days, it's just gonna like everyone will be more enthusiastic about it. It saves you time and money. It's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. It was like packed days, but I think that's always the way to do it.
Amen. Oh my gosh. The Christmas music video being next is so insane.
Wild.
Kicking the box of needles to the side.
Yes. Yes,
So
literally.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh
Of
my gosh. Well, thank you for that. That's so
course.
like real. Yeah, we do need kind of a lot of feedback for kind of cutting some things, keeping the story right. Absolutely. I would say also, I'll ask here, both films seem to have this through line about commodification slash financial cost involved with like solving or alleviating personal stressors or
Yeah.
emotions. Was this like a conscious kind of critique of like maybe more pharmaceutical culture or something more existential and symbolic about trying to buy our way out of pain, perhaps?
These questions are, I actually like got goosebumps on that question. It's amazing when someone like, taps into like what you're thinking about subconsciously. I would say both. It's kind of a lame answer, but I think that like I'm hyper conscious of like what's going to happen to Gen Z. It's like we're having all these conversations, and it's like every day I'm like, are we going to have social security? Like genuinely, I don't know. Like there's so many
Yeah.
political things, especially in America, and I know that like obviously healthcare is just a big discourse, and I think that kind of like sneaks its way into a lot of my work. And like both these films were in my early 20s where I was like gonna lose healthcare, and it's like it was a genuine concern, and I kind of cheated. I got married before I turned 26, but it's like genuinely like I was on my parents' healthcare, and then I've like luckily never had to like have a job to do my healthcare. You know what I'm saying? That's like enabled me to be a filmmaker. It's like there's so many of these things where it's like I can't. It's like can I live the life I want to live with health insurance, or do I have to pay for it, or do I just not have health insurance? So just all those things are kind of permeating. But I do genuinely think there's like this really insane systematic problem in America where we just pay more for health insurance than other places, other countries, to kind of like help that industry and support that industry. And like I hope there's change. I hope we can figure that out. But also specifically for pet care and veterinary care, there's some amazing, incredible vets out there, and we now take our cats to some of the best vets in our area. But the experience we had when the kitten Petunia had chronic kidney failure was like I just wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. It's just like these systems are so predatory, and there's just you don't know what the animal's problem is. The animal can't tell you what their problem is. So the vet is almost this like intermediary, but they have all the control and financial control. And it's like even when I just went in, I mean our vet's amazing, but it's like even when I went in like last month, it's like $1,000 for like nothing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what am I supposed to do? So I think like the overarching thing of like helplessness is like kind of a theme, and it's
Yeah.
very drawn out of me, as you can tell, when it's like medical situations, because it's like, what am I going to do? I have no control in the matter.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, that was something I deeply felt as a Gen Z myself. Oh my gosh. Just I also have a cat. I don't know where she is right now, but that feeling, yeah, of helplessness absolutely came too. And it's I think both of them actually have a tie to identity, would
Yeah.
you say? Like, body, but also like, your pet, your
Yeah.
ownership, your companion in that sense. Commodifying that, or like the cost involved
Yeah.
with kind of keeping a sense of control in your life. That spiral was really well done. I felt like I was like, yeah, this would have been me. I would have been calling everybody.
Yeah.
But speaking of Petunia, where did I you said you had a personal experience with your
Yeah.
cat. But the film also seems to have a tie with, a romantic
Yeah.
partner and some symbolism there perhaps. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is like the whole movie's pretty true, and this is the feature film we're working on right now is an expansion of the Petunia short. And yeah, we just had like we adopted a kitten. My now wife and I were 22 at the time, just moved to LA, and like 3 weeks into having him, he just had chronic kidney failure. And so like I was working on set of The Bachelorette, came home, took him to one vet. They were just like, we're busy, leave. Took him to a second vet. We were there for 6 hours, and they said, he's fine, take him home, and charged us $300. And then took Petunia home, went to bed, woke up the next morning. He was completely irresponsive, and then took him to the third vet, and they said, we need $5,000, $5,500 just to do anything. And so it was just kind of that mad scramble of like, well, it's like, we're not going to take him somewhere else now, right? It's like these people seem good, but it's like the cost is insane. And it's like, that's their expectation, is like, you just put the money down so that they don't operate at a loss, or you get some kind of kitty credit or whatever thing. The irony of the whole situation is we had pet insurance, but it kicks in after a month. So we hadn't even had him for a month. He wasn't insured. And it was just supremely traumatic and awful. And then, it was like, so there's so much to the story that you'll learn with the feature film. But there was, to touch on the love thing, it was just very challenging for my partner and I at the time. And we were just both like, what the hell? And it just, things arise because you're like, you aren't sleeping, you're worried financially. I'm this kind of like heady artist type, and my wife is like a very pragmatic like corporate type, and it's like there was so much conflict there that I was like, for the short, I was like, I think it'll lose its kind of through line if there's two characters. Like I want to make the protagonist really clear, so it's like they're kind of already broken up, but this Audrey character is like the co-owner of this cat, or maybe they adopted it together or whatever, and there's like these two heartbreaks, right? Like he's kind of losing Audrey and he's losing the cat. And the feature, it's a little bit more of a breakup movie. So we're seeing them go through that together a little bit more.
Oh wow. Yeah, absolutely. I felt like her absence made it feel more lonely, and like the stakes were a lot higher for this cat, this companion that you do have in your life to make it through. Oh,
Absolutely.
so oh my gosh, incredible that came in that moment. I would also say, before I ask you more about the feature, not
Yeah.
to get too much spoiled for us here, but was there a moment in the film that you consciously had to choose to hold back some emotion? Because there are some like yelling at the
Yeah.
phone scenes, like It's a high and intense situation, like you were saying. And I think there were some moments of restraint that made it feel more powerful. How did you go about that?
I just like I don't think I'm a very good writer, and I just like write with a lot of emotions. Like on set, like in the script, it's like this guy, Alex starts crying. Alex starts crying. Cry. It's like the whole movie is like crying, like literally. Like I think in the script, in the short script, he's like gives the cat. He's like working on the clipboard, and he's like crying already. And like my producers were like, dude, he's gonna cry through this whole movie. Like there's no stakes if he's just like crying the whole time. So I think that's where the restraint was born. Was like, hey, Alec, like this doesn't need to be like a soap opera, you know. But I definitely think like it's kind of a long story about the lead actor, but we had a lead. He had to drop to go do a movie. I auditioned a bunch of people, and then Jim once again was like, hey, you need to play yourself. This is your movie, and I'm like, okay, I'm not an actor. I'd done YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then that was like, I'm glad we made that decision because I think that like it gave me a little bit more control to like modulate the performance on the day. I always feel like that's hard with an actor. If they were going in and it's like, hey, you're just crying through this whole movie, it's like we would have had to live with that. So I am glad. And just because I'm a bad actor, I couldn't be doing all this and all that. So I had to like chill out a little bit.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Just get some eye drops.
Yes, exactly. It was all real. Tears were all real in that.
Oh my God. No. So, oh gosh. But what do you hope that people take away from Petunia in particular, not just about grief, but how we kind of value the more quiet presences in our lives? And how would you expand on that idea in the feature length? Or can you give
Yeah,
us tips?
absolutely. The real story is just about conditional versus unconditional love, right? It's like we have so many relationships where it's like we're friends because we're coworkers or we love each other because it's convenient, et cetera, et cetera. And so that was like, I had pets growing up, but it feels so different when it's like your pet where you're like their sole caretaker and like they just give you love. That's just their like all they do. That's like all they know. And it's just like an unreal feeling. Like I still have Petunia's brother and we adopted another cat, and it's like it's like the best thing ever to just like come home and they sit on your lap and it's like, oh my god, like this living being loves me, and so with our relationships and with life, there's just there's conditional love everywhere we turn, like with almost every relationship there's some kind of condition to it. So I was just really interested in exploring that because I felt once Petunia died, it was like, wow, like I lost like this sense of consistent love in my life and like filling my cup. So I think the feature, it's like every scene in every relationship is kind of testing the protagonist like love in one way or the other, and that's just a theme that I've been really interested in exploring.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love your projects. These are
Thank
so
you so much.
that's
So
great answers.
sweet.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, also I think they hit particular Petunia. I had a breakup the day before I had to rewatch it.
I'm so sorry.
With my cat on my lap. So I think I had a very immersive experience.
Yes, it's real.
Oh my gosh. And I like this question. This one's really fun. I ask everybody this type of question. Just for the viewers at home, what are some films that you would recommend to either
Mhm.
warm up to this festival screening for Petunia and Necessity or after they've seen it and they're watching this interview and they're hungry for more?
Gosh, that's such a good question. Like, I think definitely Necessity, the Substance would be one. I love Black Swan. That's just a huge like tonal inspiration. I'm a huge Aronofsky fan. I'm like ready for a Ozempic movie. Like, I think that is like might have to be the next movie is like an Ozempic movie. But yeah, I mean, I don't watch a ton of horror, so I just feel like a hypocrite even recommending like a total body horror. Like I would recommend more kind of thrillers. I mean, The Substance gets there for sure, but yeah, just watch all of Aronofsky stuff. That's just like all you need to watch. Yeah, Petunia is like it's so funny. We just did a table read for the feature, and we were like, "What movie would you compare this to?" And like everyone was like, "Geez, I don't know, like Marley and Me, like like it's like what, like it's like are there good like pet dramas that aren't just like pure family movies like A Dog's Journey or Dog's Purpose or whatever?" So I would say like The Big Sick would be an interesting one. A lot of like waiting room logistical scenes, and then Normal People is like I think just so well done where you just like fall in love with these characters and you just follow them around doing like normal things, which is I'm just a big fan of that whole thing. And if you love cats, Inside Llewellyn Davis, I feel like there's a really good orange tabby Odysseus that you can follow around for a little bit.
Cool. Oh my gosh. We're gonna write these down. I
Oh
like
my
a letterboxed four kind
god.
of question. So this is awesome. Well, for my last question, because you so great. All this time has just flown by here on
No,
my questions. How do you think that these two projects in particular changed you as a writer? Because you are a writer director.
So, yeah, I think like I just had like a really great film school professor who like I would just write these like little strips that were like you touch on like one piece of your life and then everything else would be super fabricated. And he was just like, it's like go back to that one piece and like just talk about that, like just get into the authentic, like real moment, you know, like get to really try to like rip your heart out and put it on the table and like see what the story is. And as long as you kind of know like storytelling, it comes together really nicely because it's like real. Like I feel like that's
Yeah.
what resonates with everybody about the Petunia movie is like he could have just lived, but it's like everyone who's had to euthanize a pet is like, oh my god, like this movie's so real. Like that's exactly what happened. So I think that like both of those were such a good experience in just like ripping my heart out, putting it on the table. When I was trying to figure out what to do, I knew I wanted to make a short around the time of Petunia. I just had these other like script ideas that was like just not like really what happened. It's just like things that have happened to my friends or like things that I just didn't know intimately that I'm like I was just like interested in the topics. So I think that was like Petunia was a great first step in basically being like, let me just like write down what happened, you know, and just like a lot of omission, figuring out how to like tell that story. And then yeah, Necessity is like is really like I would say more than anything like how can you use genre to your advantage? And again, it's like I'm not. It's like horror is crazy. Like I really respect a good horror movie, but I'm not the kind of person who's like on Tubi watching like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 27. But it is like that was I feel like the only way to tell that story. Like I wouldn't have wanted to make a drama about Ozempic. You know what I'm saying? So I think
Yeah.
that was like my big learning moment is like using the medium to your advantage and using genre to your advantage.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for that
Of
answer.
course, thank
Absolutely.
you.
I feel like, yeah, all of what you talked about, you really did align those perfectly for the stories you wanted to tell, and it shows.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for your time today. Everybody watching, come see Petunia and Necessity by Alec Cohen at the Athens Film Festival this year from August 14th through 17th. Tickets are on sale now at athensfilm.com. Alec, where can the people find more about you and your projects?
Absolutely. Most of my social media is at AlecMan123, and that was made when I was 13, but it's just too late now. You just gotta own it, you know. But yeah, I think we'll be rolling out some social media stuff for the Petunia movie, and I don't think any of that stuff is like live yet. So like, I would just say there's another movie from 2012 called Petunia, but you know, if you see this video in like a little later in 2025, maybe Google Alec Cohen Petunia and then
Yeah.
some fun stuff will come up and you guys will be able to see hopefully the cast and the crew and the fun people soon.
Oh my goodness, how exciting. Gosh. Well, thank you so, so much for sitting down with me today. Have a great rest of your day. Will we see you at the festival?
Ditto. Our right now our last day is the 15th. So I'm trying to see if I can basically of shooting the feature. I'm trying to see if I can like book a flight. I have family in Georgia and just get in and go see the movie. So TBD, hopefully no one pushes dates.
All right. Well, until then, maybe will they, won't they? We'll see you.
Yeah.
But have a great rest of your night and thank you so much.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.